beautiful, and I named them things that every time I called their names meant something. So, so I did all those things, but I still like pushed them because my mother made me, I always had to be like, I wasn't, what I was trying to say is I wasn't worthy just because I was who I was. Right. It was all those things that I did, the degrees that I have, the grades that I'm excited. Then she was happy because she could say, look, my daughter's this, she's this. But it wasn't just because I was. Just, you are enough as you are. Mm-hmm. And if I could say anything to parents, make your children feel they are enough just because they are who they are. Mm-hmm. Whether or not they're straight A students or the best in basketball or whatever, just because they may be the child that's going to encourage the person that's going to save the world. They could be the child that's going to be thoughtful and write the best thesis on whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, but you may not know that, but they are enough.
Yes,
they are enough. They need people need to know, and children need to know they are enough just as they are.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I also think kind of along those lines, it's just like in those moments when I'm frustrated, or when I feel like I'm maybe going overboard trying to be perfect and trying to make them have the same feeling about something that I have. And it's like, then I stop and I think, when my children tell their story about me, what is their story going to be? Mm-hmm. And when I think about that, and it's like, when they're in college, they're like, well, my mother, she never showed up. Well, my mother was, there. Yeah. She did this, and yes, she yelled all over the house when something was out of place, and hopefully they will find that was from a place of love. Come from a place of love at that point. But that is one of the things that kind of rein me back in when it's like when things are not going in the order or that you think it should go. Right. So no, I wasn't able to make it to this, but as a whole, and I'm grading myself just cumulatively. It can't be a whole. Was I there? So I would, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, B-ish, B plus, because always room for improvement. Always. So that helps me through my tough mothering times.
I'm going to say this different, and it's a different perspective from someone that didn't have kids or any of those. My parents, should I say, and I say this to my friends that have children, because all of our kids, all of you guys that have children want your kids to be at a certain level. Well, my undergrad didn't come till I was 30. When I graduated from high school, it was not for any other reason except for it was me, but my mother let me be me. So the traditional stance was you finish high school, you go to school. Well, my friends were typically older than I. So I'd see them go off to school and have a really good time. And then they come home. And so when I graduated from high school, I said to my mom, I said, if you make me go, I'm going to have a really good time. And she says, well, I asked you for 12th grade, and you gave me that. College is so that you can get out and support the lifestyle that you want for yourself, that you can afford, because I'm not going to take care of it. So if you can do that without going to school, good for you. And so my path is different. I tell my friends, don't push your kids. Let them know that they're enough. I'm satisfied with what you've done. Whatever it is that you decide to be the best that it is. Now, later on, I got out in the universe and worked, and the universe kicked my ass, and I was like, I should go back to school.
Let me think of this.
Because there's a couple things, I can't keep waiting for Applebee's 10 o'clock half price advertising. I can't, because that's what I was doing. So I was like, so I should go back to school so somebody could give me just a little bit more money. But I feel like that was the better path. Now, I did it, and so my story is different. I did it all on my own. I never had to come back to them to say, can you help me? Or anything like that. So it was, the story turned out to be a whole, it wound up being the same story I just got there differently. And so I tell my friends that are parents or whatever, and sometimes they're looking at these kids, and I'm like, your kids make D's. I don't, and that doesn't mean that a D student can't go to college, but you gotta listen to your kid and not have what you want.
Right. But sometimes
go to them.
It's not, Toy, about what they may want. Sometimes I think that the women in our lives, mothers, aunts, grandmothers, it's what's being said to them is there's a button that's playing, a recording that's playing over and over and over. So they didn't get the message of I'm enough. I am as a mother enough. So they can't give it to you, and their mother may not have given it to them. And so it's generation after generation after generation that continues that cycle. And so when we talk about, as much as I love the fact that we have all these choices, there's also this, I think what happened from Women's Lib came and it was like, and everybody went. And there was no sort of, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. But then there's the reality of what my all looks like individually is very different than what your all looks like. Sure. It's lists, right? There may be some N/A's. Bianca has twins. I have another one that has triplets. One pregnancy, 2 or 3 babies. Very different than a singleton, right? Yeah. Or your circumstance, whether it's death or divorce, that's going to make a change. Or if I'm not a sandwich generation, nor are you in those circumstances. I don't know what that's like, and I don't know how many in here are. But that becomes a different situation. So everybody's all doesn't add up. But I think society adds so much pressure to it. And I think what also happened, and I don't want to bring the men into this, only to the degree to say that if they had to do this damn score sheet, A's all down this damn because they can do all of this, because the half of the stuff that we think about, they don't think about it. No. And guess what? If they fail at a particular thing, I was late picking you up from school. I did not sit in that seat for that show. Guess what?
Daddy still loves you. We're going to move on.
Yes. And society is not saying, oh, bad daddy.
No, never.
He was working.
He was working.
Yeah.
Take care of the family.
Yes. Putting clothes on your back, food in your mouth.
Am I paying for you?
Paying the mortgage.
Am I paying the mortgage up in there? All right, then. I love that stuff.
That's what your mama's supposed to do. That's mama's stuff. That's mama's. Louise.
I felt so bad for a little bit. I got over it because I'm LSH, right? To some extent. I mean, but I'm also human. But even the things that I say to everyone in the podcast, I internalize. My kids normally get their physicals around their birthdays, March and April. This year, I had to take him out of school for half a day in September because
oh my God.
Right. So at first I was like, what the hell? I got over it real quick because this is where I am. Right? Yeah. I got a business, I'm traveling, I'm doing a whole lot of things. So 6 years ago, that wasn't my situation. It wasn't my circumstance. Nor was yours before 2005. Yeah. Right? So it depends on our time. It depends on our circumstance. It depends on our situation. I think we have to turn that recording off. And sometimes we got to hang up the phone or, get off connect.
And create a
all those who are in our lives saying, "What? You didn't do that? You didn't have any dinner cooked for them? What do you mean? You didn't get their costumes for Halloween?
I didn't make it.
Right?
You didn't sew that yourself?
Yeah. So for those who are the mothers in here, how many of you got an A as a mother?
Wait, I don't know.
You got an A?
Yeah. I put an A too. That's a good one. All right, let's go. Let's roll with it.
How many B's in here? B's. I'm a B. Yeah. Clearly, if I missed the damn physical. Right.
You're not a stay-at-home mom. They're healthy.
No, they're healthy, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even go through
got
all of that. I was
back.
just like, get over it. They're like, this is what you gotta do. You guys get to spend some extra hours together. That's how I summed it up.
Right. We can go to lunch. Yeah.
It was just some more time we could spend together.
Exactly.
You were a great mom. Then you took them out of school. That's the A.
That's the A.
That's it. Get your pen and change that.
So I think that. Oh, so how many got C's as a mother?
We're not that hard
I
on
think
ourselves,
yeah.
right?
So I'm with Bianca. We're going to give ourselves a curve. Right.
You're going to curve it.
We're going to curve that. And I think that it also gets to the point where it's really bad that internally, individually, we have to, because it's always room for improvement, but we maybe need to reassess and reevaluate. Because maybe some of this shit shouldn't even be on our list.
Right.
Right. Like honestly, I may need to get rid of my dog.
That's what I'm thinking, but I can't.
No, my dog.
I got one, and I'm empty.
I'm
That's
talking
now.
about being honest and reevaluating and reassessing. Maybe I need to take the organizations off of my list. If not all permanently, for now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
if not permanently for now.
You should. She can go in December.
Yeah, I mean, but and maybe there's some other things that we look at reassessing, because I may be getting an A in an area that I don't even feel good about,
Right.
right? And then I'm letting some other things suffer.
And feel bad about it, you know. And I think that's the thing, you know, the guilt that you feel. Like I have a friend who's very, very successful in her career, but she felt like she was a bad mom for a long time because she's busy. She's always busy.
Mm-hmm.
She can barely be. We'll be out to dinner, all laughing and talking. She'll have her laptop out at the dinner table. We can't even. We having drinks and laughing and talking. She's still working or going through stuff, you know. And you know,
Is she okay with that? I guess the question is that if
she was. I mean, she struggled for a while because it makes you. Because society says, you know, as a woman, the most important thing is your family. I mean, you get that is transmitted through every medium, everywhere.
Absolutely.
And other women make you feel that way as well, and older women make you feel that way. And so the most important thing is your husband and your child.
because you're not going to see a Hallmark card where the mom is sitting at the laptop.
No, right.
No, you're not going to see
No.
that.
Here's an interesting thing, like if when there's separation, and just say if I would have let my daughter go with her father, I would have been the worst mother ever. But she'd be
Very
like,
good
well,
point.
why couldn't he take
Right.
her and
Very
let me
good
live my life and just do the fun things, right?
Very good point.
But you know, really, society put that on you, and we judge other women like, "Why
Oh.
would you let your child go?" You know, but
Judge myself.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
really quick to do that.
yeah, but it should be okay either way.
It should be okay, but I think that. So I know someone
I think so,
personally.
too.
I actually have it's not a published book, but I know someone personally. I based the book that I'm writing. I wrote the book, most of it, but it's nowhere near publication. So let me just say that. But it was the character. Her name is Greer. It's based on somebody that I know who, instead of raising her children, let them stay with the father once they divorce.
I know a
wish I
gentleman
was so
that did that, and
courageous.
he has 3 of them in New York, and he's doing a really great job. But you know, certain things, like when I'm looking at the kids and I'm like, hey, the food is all over their body. Like, are we going to do? And he is just like, kind of like, hey, I'm just rolling with the punches.
Right.
It's only me, and I understand that. Whereas a mother would probably be like, let me make sure you're clean and let's do this. And he's just like, are they bleeding? No. All right, I'm going to finish my game.
They're okay.
Wow, you know what I mean?
Sweat and water, fire. What is it? Fire, sweat. What is it?
Blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, I think that that those children, it'll be interesting to see them when they grow up and what their experiences are, because I'm sure that their lives are going to be more non-structured, unstructured, very, very free, and to do what they want to do. I mean, he definitely
They'll
has
probably be much more self-sufficient.
I agree.
say that.
I very and more
I overdid it with
confident.
my children. That's why I gave myself a B. I overdid it.
more confident, more independent,
More secure.
and
who
yeah.
they are.
And so
Yeah.
making their choices, it's going to be a different outcome.
Yes,
but it's
definitely.
not
It's
going
gonna
to
be
necessarily
interesting.
be the worst outcome.
No.
Because isn't it about love? He loves his children.
Yeah, he definitely loves his
Yeah.
But sadly, in this society, there will be people who will tell those kids, will get in their ear and say, "Your mother left you."
On top of it, he's biracial. I mean, the kids are biracial, so it was a whole different story. Like, what is this man raising these 3 black kids? Like, why is that happening.
Yeah, that.
What,
added
sister
another
walked
layer.
away? Wow.
Well, look at you.
I'm both revolted and repressed and impressed at the same time. Because see, I raised my ex